Hey guys, the cryptocurrency markets are reeling right now from some big sells initiated from actions originating from the SEC and British banks coming in this morning. People are panicking, dropping for a drop, or calling for a drop to 4K, excuse me. And the situation looks dire for a lot of people, but are we worried? No, we're not, because we're about to win this EOS trading competition and we were already short. Let's break it all down and show you how to best defend your capital in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Sorry, I had the audio over here that was playing, feeding back on me. And if you've ever tried to talk on a microphone while hearing yourself on a time delay, let me tell you, there is nothing more disorienting than that, except for my relationships in my teens. But moving right along from that, welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live in the studio Wednesday, August 14th, 2019. Foul year of our Lord, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders and investors in this wonderful space we call cryptocurrency. I'm Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor. It's a morning for crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're watching us from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or of course on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. If you guys want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat. We love to see your questions and your comments on what we're talking about. And if you happen to be watching us on YouTube, give that thumbs up button a tap, guys. Today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin is brought to you by us. If you are an aspiring trader or an experienced trader looking to sharpen your skills, and you guys would like to trade along with us, access our proprietary indicators, our proprietary signals, our tools, learn our rules, then check out premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And we've got such a fantastic show for you guys today. I don't even know where to begin. Got to start off with the fact that the EOS trading competition is live. We are ready to go. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. Highlights for today, we're going to talk about Coinbase ending their relationship with Barclays. We're going to talk about the Veritasium scam finally coming down. For those of you guys who know me a little bit personally, you might know that I absolutely hate Veritasium. I've hated Veritasium since it launched. I've thought Reggie was an idiot since it launched. I've thought that every single person who promoted this scam was an idiot when they launched. And it's just nice to get some vindication today as the SEC comes in and makes their harshest decision on an ICO to date. And regardless of what your feelings are upon this, regardless of what your feelings are, whether this is the SEC's role in our government, whether this is the correct government role, again, as an ANCAP, we can have a long conversation about that. But I will say that I think that Veritasium and everybody who was involved with it is a scumbag. And that may be a little bit harsh, but we're going to talk and break that down a little bit more today. We're also going to talk about your Bitcoin applicability on your new Samsung Galaxy phone. Dun, dun, dun. But let's start off, as we always do every single episode, by giving away some crypto. I want to give a big shout out to this month's crypto comment giveaway sponsor, X42 Protocol. Good friends of the show. Make sure to go check them out at x42.tech. All right, and here we are on the live scene, and you know what? It's okay. It's not like, oh, it's the end of the world, but we only had one commenter on yesterday's video, guys. Definitely slacking on those YouTube comments. Make sure to give the YouTube algorithm god much love. Leave us some comments at the end of today's video. But that individual is Mr. Ether. Now, we've got a 50-50 chance because I try to respond to every single comment. I try to always respond back to you guys. You guys take the time out of your day to come and talk to me, and I take the time to put my phone on mute. Snapchats. I take the time to put my phone on mute when I come live for you guys every single morning. But help us out with the YouTube algorithm gods, guys, and push us up. We highly appreciate it. So we're going to randomly pick a winner just for fun, and it's a 50-50 chance whether it's going to be me or Come on, man. Trying to give away some of this magical internet money. That was some amazing ventriloquism. Mr. Ether. Yes, Mr. Ether. The one, the only. Follow him on Twitter, guys. I think it's at Ether Hodler, but I'm not exactly sure. But thank you so much, man, for the support, for your continued support. He's in the competition with us, guys. Let's kill it. Yes, let's kill it. And let's get over into the live scene and look at Bitcoin's price action. Holy God almighty. Look at that. Look at that. It's almost like sometimes this trader on YouTube knows what he's talking about. Just once in a while, guys. Let's get the microphone over here. I kind of moved the mic stand over so I didn't have to struggle with that every single morning. Anyways, hopefully you guys are doing great, man. Hopefully you guys are doing great. All right, now let's move on to the daily. Let's just go ahead and start off on the daily. And yes, so this Lucid SAR indicator, by the way, is not part of my algo, not part of my structure, but it's something I'm playing around with. It's pretty neat. I don't think it works exactly how an individual would want it to work, but I do think it's pretty neat. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of that just for right now. You guys have been warned. Go check it out. Anyways, so here we are on the daily. We're just a few ticks away. Now, we went ahead and we entered into 2 trades last night, 2 trades on Bitcoin to the downside. One was a daily full risk short. And then we talked about, obviously in the group, we always try to provide different setups and different situations for people who are going to be trading differently. Some individuals really like trading with Kraken cryptocurrency because we trade the daily time frame, and that gives us the opportunity to own our time, gives us the opportunity to really be able to trade profitably and spend time with our family or spend time with our primary income source. If trading is a side hustle, it allows us to just really enjoy our time and living. And for those of you who do want to trade professionally like me and like a lot of the guys in our group, then it's also possible to do that only trading once a day. Now, there are a lot of guys in the group, and again, PTP is something that can be scaled up or something that can be scaled down. We teach you how to build a strategy. We put the rules and the tools in your hand, and it's on you to make the focus. Now, obviously, we provide signals. We try to give everybody the best possible setups that we can. So all our analysts and traders are sharing their positions as well, and everybody else's as well, so that people can benefit from the group. In fact, we just made the EOS trading competition channel for the premium members so that they can communicate their trades and setups and signals, because there's going to be some guys who are down on the hourly chart doing great. There's going to be some guys on the 4-hour chart who are doing great, and maybe even lower time frames than that. There's going to be some guys doing weekly analysis and calling fantastic positional setups. So anyways, I digress. Let's get into the Bitcoin. We did break down below the baseline yesterday. We got a fully confirmed signal from PTP to take the trade to the downside. Obviously, Fisher went ahead and crossed over on this up candle, giving us the best entry that I can see here from the system. But as you can see, there was no confirmation at that point in time. There was no confirmation. We were still above the baseline. We were still above, Wadatar Explosion was still printing a green column. And also, Wadatar Explosion was not printing a green column, even if it was printing a column, wrong color column, and not above the explosion level, letting us know that the volume is not there. But on yesterday's candle, as we talked about, Minx crossing below the 0 line, Fisher crossing below the 0 line as well, which is always just a nice level of confluence and confirmation. And Wadatar Explosion printing a column above the dead zone. Make sure you guys have upgraded to the new Wadatar Explosion indicator. I did publish the dead zone filter, which is just another filter to reduce losses. Of course, that is a publicly available indicator that you guys can go get at tv.krakencryptocurrency.com. You can use that one absolutely for free. And that actually is a part of my actual trading system. So it's also a fantastic initiator in its own right. Just gives really, really good signals. One strategy that we ran for a long time was just taking running lots of really good independent systems in tandem. Now, sometimes they're going to overlap and give you signals like that, but often they're just going to be, they're going to give you a good confluence. So if you find good systems that work in tandem, but they're not generating a lot of signals, there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, that's what we're going to be going over in the group. Oh, premium trading group updates. I published a new Pathways to Profit video this morning, going over how to upgrade from version 3 of Pine to version 4. So make sure you guys go check that out if you're in the group and you're working on your strategy tester as we're building. And the video that I'm working on right now that I hope to have published this afternoon, this evening, or tomorrow, depending on what difficulties I have with it, is some tips and tricks for testing our initiators, specifically centered oscillators, but we're also going to touch on line crosses. I know that, and in general, this is how I start the video off. There's so many indicators out there, and as somebody who has literally tested thousands of indicators by hand and programmatically, we can often feel like we have a good initiator, we have a good indicator that gives us good signals, but there's just so many options. We don't exactly know what to do with it. Should we use this level or this cross or that cross? And so in that video, in the video that's going to be coming out, I'm going to show some tips and tricks that you can do in Pine to really simplify that and really run through all these different parameters and different options in a much faster way. Not a faster way like a cutting corners way, but a faster way as just making it more efficient and showing you things that you guys can do in Pine that some people might not know. So anyways, there we go. There's take profit one on the daily right there. So that's good. So we've hit the take profit one on the daily to the downside. This is going to go for a while, guys. This is going to go. This is really not. Let's just start from the beginning. So we got the full risk short on Minx yesterday, giving us the full confidence to be in a short position. Obviously, if we scale down to the 12-hour time frame as well, we get that same level of initiation. We actually got the let's see here, right here on this candle, which was the halfway candle on the 12th, right? So that's going to be 7 o'clock in the morning on the 12th. That's UTC time, so it's a little bit different. But anyways, and then we got the good confirmation of that as we talked about yesterday. So the ability to take that full risk trade to the downside. So everything's looking really, really well, man. Everything's looking well. We took Ethereum to the downside as well. We were already in an XRP USD. And the market shifted a little bit, reeling off this news. The market, we talk about not trading news, and that's the thing. The technical signals are not always going to give you the signal in advance of the news, and sometimes they're going to give you the signal after the news. But it's a much better strategy because now you have two levels of confluence. So, although I disagree fundamentally with trading the news, in fact, I generally step out of high news events because volatility can be so high. And volatility is good, but too much volatility can just be too dangerous for a trader who's trying to preserve their capital. So, this is not really a situation where I would be hopping in a position. If you're holding Bitcoin, I think that the smartest maneuver at this point in time is to be obviously following your own strategy. Don't listen to me. Listen to me as far as developing your strategy, and then do that. But it's always the option on the table if you're just uncertain to just hedge your position, to just go short. It doesn't matter what price does. If you have $5,000 on BitMEX, or if you have $7,000, if you've got $20 on BitMEX, you take a 20 contract short on the furthest out contract, or you go over to ByBit where we trade and you take a 20 contract short trade to the downside. It doesn't matter if price pumps, you don't lose money. You only lose BTC. You have the same dollar value. So if you're concerned about this and you think the price is going to continue to drop, the safest thing that you can do is, and this is a little bit different from moving into Tether, because if you move into Tether, you don't make anything. This is why I like utilizing the power of leverage and being able to short sell Bitcoin. It is really, it's a game changer, right? So many people, the problem with moving into Tether is that is a currency shift. You're moving out of Bitcoin and you're moving into Tether, and then you have to move out of Tether, right? You have to move out of Tether to get back into the market. And that's like entering into a trade. It's entering into a new full risk trade, because whenever you buy Bitcoin, you have gone long on Bitcoin. It's the same. It's not like operating from cash from the Forex markets. You're actively changing your position in the market. You're actually changing your position in the market. So it's much easier to just go short, hedge your capital on something like ByBit, and you're going to see that you're going to maintain valuation on the way down, and you're going to maintain valuation on the way up. And it's just a lot smoother to start scaling out of your position. It's psychologically easier. It's psychologically easier to begin scaling out of a position than scaling into a fresh position, especially generally when people move into Tether. The majority of traders move into Tether. They're moving into Tether at a loss, right? So they're moving into Tether because price is dropping, and then they're going to buy back BTC on the way back up. So, it is kind of the same because they'll have less BTC, but the same amount of dollars. But psychologically, I find it much easier for people to actively manage their positions when they just utilize the features of a platform like ByBit and take the ability to short sell like they should. So anyways, are there no legal U.S. margin crypto trade exchanges? WTF? Yes, there is Kraken. You can trade on Kraken. You can short sell and go long on Kraken. I have an account on Kraken. I used to trade on Kraken. I don't trade so much on Kraken anymore. We do support Kraken as an exchange, which we provide signals for. But I do the majority of my work on ByBit and Binance. So getting into what's going on. Daily time frame. Let's go back to yesterday and we'll talk again briefly about our downside targets and what we were looking at. We'll obviously flip Quadriga ATR to short and we'll open up the data window and we'll just look at what was predicted by Quadriga yesterday. So take profit one, as I said, was coming in around 10,179. Current price on the candle is 10,140. So we've cleared that very nicely. This is an opportunity where we take some profit. We move our stop losses to break even. And, we drink rum and sing yo ho ho because we just made a great trade. Obviously, second target's coming in around that $9,500 area, 94.94. And then our downside potential is going to be 88.09. 8809 if the bearish momentum continues on in this fashion. And as you can see, Minx, when you look at its oscillation, it's really, really good. It's obviously, that's why this is the initiator that I use. But it doesn't give you too many fake outs on Bitcoin, especially on the daily. It gives you a good signal. The problem often comes from the proper filters being applied. So adjusting the filters, working on the 1 candle to 3 candle rule, the 1 to 3 bar rule, working on, your qualifying line and the parameters that you want on that. Those are often the difficulties that people are going to have, not the direction of the signal, right? Of course, one of the reasons that we use Wadatar and that we use our other indicators as well, including the baseline, is because they just help filter out those bad signals. But the signals that they do give are quite good. So, D-Moba says, honestly, your idea for hedging made my trading easier. Thank you. You're welcome, man. Thank you so much for the support. All in the Mind 2006 says, alts are an absolute bloodbath. Alts are an absolute bloodbath. Yes, they are. They are taking a dive. Where is it? Wow, that thing is zoomed in. That thing is quite zoomed in. So yeah, current P&L is sitting at 31.71%. That's what I'm currently up for the day. There are a couple of alts in drawdown, which is pulling that back. And again, it's just the nature of the game. So I'm pretty happy with that 30% ROI on the daily for current trades. So anyways, let's go and collapse this for a little bit. We talked about downside potential. Let's talk about re-entry areas and opportunities. Obviously, our baseline's coming in at 10,934. And I talked about that last night to the guys in the group. I talked about how, obviously, if you're looking to optimize your entry, then you could potentially be looking to target the baseline on the 4 hour for a little bit of a pullback back up to that 11,200 region. But you run the risk of not getting filled. And that was the risk that they ran. They did not get filled, those that tried to optimize their entry. And again, one of the things that I'm keen to talk about a lot is not optimizing your entry, but optimizing your strategy, right? Optimizing your take profits and your money management, because often that's what's going to be the determining factor on your underlying profitability. Not so much when you enter the market. When you're a trend following trader, you can enter a little earlier, you can enter a little later. It's totally fine because, ideally you're going to be getting a signal. You've constructed your system to not give you a whole bunch of false signals. You have to have an indicator that's sensitive enough to get you in at a good price, but not so sensitive that you are getting in on every single whipsaw. And this is why I'm so prone to say, like, everybody wants to talk about, we want leading indicators. You really don't. You do not want leading indicators. Leading indicators are going to get you, they're fine. Everybody wants to point out leading indicators and say, look at this great reversal it called, or look at this great reversal it called. But they do not want to talk about the majority of Bitcoin's price or the majority of any asset's price where it doesn't have those very well-defined rounded edges. And where following a system, following an if this then that strategy with a leading indicator is often just going to punch you right in the face because you're gonna sell. And here's one thing that I want to point out, because somebody sent me a link today of, and I'm not going to point them out or really talk negatively about them, but there's an indicator out there, and it shows these really nice buy and sell signals, very pretty, all plotted out very nice for you. And when you look at it, you're like, wow, this thing is absolutely amazing. Like, wow, I mean, look, there's a sell right at the top and there's a buy right at the bottom. Like, wow, how much? Take my money. Give me the indicator. And, so I got my hands on it. And when you actually look, because you got to remember, the sell signal is being plotted at the top of the bar. you got to look at where the arrow is. You got to look at where the candle is actually closing that's getting you in there. And there's like this much maybe profit opportunity, right? And then price reverses and moves in the opposite direction. And then you get a buy signal and there's like this much profit opportunity. And people just visually, their eyes are drawn to where those buy and sell signals are. It's a very common, I've seen so many people selling scammy indicators, selling bargain basement indicators, and gussing it up with pretty visuals and obfuscating the true nature of what the indicator is supposed to do. An indicator should be very clean and simple and easy to read because you're going to be following it pursuant to an if this then that strategy. And if you're not able to follow your indicator pursuant to an if this then that strategy, then again, you are walking deeply into the realm of subjectivity. You are walking deeply into the realm of subjectivity of what's the word I'm looking for? Of wishes and fishes, as I'm prone to say. Because now, instead of just having a simple strategy that you just follow because you put the time in to pick the right indicators and optimize your settings and your parameters and optimize your money management, instead of doing that, you're looking to spend literally a half hour to an hour, if not longer, hawing about a position. And I know that so many of you know exactly what I'm talking about because I was that way for years. I had my strategies, I had some indicators, but I had price action in my head. So every time I would go to take a trade, I would be trying to look at like fundamentals, and I'd try to be looking at support and resistance, and I'd be looking at patterns, and I'd be looking at all this other stuff. And well, sometimes when this indicator crosses this, we got to look at this other indicator. And sometimes when it's curled up, that can be a good thing, but only if we're above the cloud. All that's nonsense, man. You don't have to trade that way. You don't have to do that to yourself. And that's really what I learned. And making that mental shift was the biggest leap in my profitability and my enjoyment of my life, right? My enjoyment of my life, because that's ultimately the most important thing. You want to earn enough income from your investing and from your trading to live an okay lifestyle that makes you happy and gives you the time to enjoy life, right? It's either that or you can go be a wage slave working at a job you absolutely hate, grinding in a cubicle, stuck in traffic, hating everything that you do, eventually just becoming that depressed, despondent, tired, and sick old man or old woman. And who wants that, man? Who wants that? I would happily make less money than I'm currently making. I would happily make less money trading right now. And be absolutely fine with people coming in saying like, well, look at all this money I'm making, bro. That's fine, dude. That's fine. You're stuck in front of your computer 12 hours a day. Your relationship with your family is bad. You've divorced your wife. You've been divorced 3 times. You don't have any really close friends. I don't. I took my daughter to the circus last night. It's fantastic. It was a big top circus, like a real big top circus, right? And in my lifestyle, I traded last night at the right time I'm supposed to trade, talked to all the members, made sure they were on point. Then I took my daughter to the circus and we enjoyed the circus all evening. I come home, I went to bed last night, didn't look at the charts, wake up in the morning, get right to the charts at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and boom, boom, bam. I just get to, I get to enjoy it. It's not every day's sweet like that. Not every day is wonderful and fantastic like that. Of course not. But the point here is what we're talking about. The point here is building a lifestyle that is comfortable, that is successful, that is consistent, and allows you to enjoy life and enjoy your time. So having said that, let's talk a little bit more about technical analysis. On the daily time frame, we're looking at those downside targets. Where do I see for a re-entry opportunity? Now, again, I will say this, that whenever Bitcoin's price moves down on high volatility, you often see a little bit of a pullback. Do I really see this as a buying opportunity? No, I don't. If we were cracking the $9,000 area, I might potentially see that as a buyback opportunity. But again, this is a really nasty area of Bitcoin's price here. I've said this for a while. This is a really nasty area where we have 3 consecutive lower highs, and we have again, kind of not a symmetrical pattern, because again, symmetrical pattern just means unclear. You do have 3 consecutive lower lows. And again, that's not, again, you have one low, you have 2 equidistant lows, right? That are roughly about the same price. And depending on where Bitcoin's price ends up right now, you could have a higher low or a lower low. That's predicting the future. And I don't know. Neither does anybody else. But I would say that cracking the $9,000 area would be an opportunity to potentially be looking at buying back. Again, that's not my strategy. I don't buy reversals. I wait until the trend has shifted and given me confirmation of the trade. So I definitely do think the trades right now are to the downside. If price ends up reversing, you have to remember that I've already comfortably taken profit on my positions. If price reverses at this point, I just end up making less money than I would have intended. And ultimately, I do think, as I've thought for a while here, that the trade is to the downside. I've been saying that for going into last week. So That's my directional bias. All the indicators confirm that. All the indicators confirmed the trade yesterday. I'm very happy to have caught that trade, and we'll continue going on from there. So there's really nothing to do right now except for, hedge up if you're concerned, if you're not in a position, and wait for a good reentry opportunity. Wait for a good reentry opportunity. Let the day kind of play out. It's a high news event day. I think largely the movement has happened. I don't think that we're going to get a dramatic V bottom back up out of this. I think we're going to see some consolidation. Then I think we're going to see some continuation. So I think a lot of people are going to be really, kind of charging in to the buyback, as we kind of drift here. I think I could definitely see us popping back up to the $10,500 area. I could absolutely see that. To test, in this opinion, the hourly baseline. I'd be very, very hesitant to take anything until we got above that. And again, we can kind of see the stair stepping down. So let's go back and see the last kind of large movement like this. We have this hourly consolidation at the top. We have a distributive pattern, and then we have a large sell movement to the downside. We have this okay opportunity for a long, but fraught with peril. Look at these long fuck you wicks to the downside, trying to take this long. And then the trend emerges here as we get good signals. You can see Wadatar explosion giving the go-aheads as we finally, on the hourly, break WADA above the dead zone right here or here. And Minx already down to the downside, confirming that. We have Fisher transform not only crossed under the trigger line, but also under the zero line, making that very, very clear that this is now a good opportunity. Not 100% signal, no signal is, but a good opportunity to continue price on to the downside. So anyways, and you can just see the cleanliness of the move to the downside, right? The lack of risk when you're taking a trade in the direction of the dominant trend, as opposed to trying to take a trade counter trend. As you can see here, this is counter trend, right? And it's fraught with peril. This is a long trade. There definitely was profit opportunity there, but very little as compared to this trade. And that's trading in the direction of the trend as confirmed here on the hourly and as the indicators confirm here. You really don't need much else. You don't need the subjectivity. You don't need the well-wishing. You don't need the forecasting. You don't need the price predictions. You don't need the trend lines. You don't need the Fibonacci. You just need some good indicators and some common sense about you. Okay. I don't think I'll ever marry. It's easier to find a woman you hate and buy her house. I'll tell you this, man. Having a partner is one of the most joyous experiences in your life. You have to be discerning, you have to be discriminating, but you do not want to grow old alone. It is not a rewarding lifestyle. I've seen it happen to people. I'm 31 and I am very, very pleased to meet somebody that I can spend the rest of my life with. I've been in relationships before. I enjoy being in relationships. I think that the older that you get, it's harder to find somebody because the older that you get, you accumulate baggage. Both men and women accumulate baggage on the way up. And the more partners that you're with, it becomes harder for you to bond to somebody, right? So again, the people who are more conservative generally, when it comes to relationships, generally have happier lives, man. Generally have happier lives. And that's, I think, something that a lot of people are fundamentally misconstrued about in today's society, because it's all, glamour and sex and blah, blah, blah. We've had it right for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, man. Find somebody that you can tolerate and build a relationship over time. And generally things get good. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to bum 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 bum. Daily to the downside, 12-hour to the downside, 4-hour to the downside, hourly to the downside. Again, I would love to make the argument that, yeah, man, this is the oversold area where you definitely want to buy back, but it's not. You can even see that, the last time that the Fisher was oversold right here, you did get a little bit of a bounce, but immediately to the downside. And Fisher is nowhere near oversold levels right now. Minx is, and you can see again, the last time that you got an oversold condition on Minx, price just continued moving down. So you're not going to hear me say that. You're going to hear me looking for continued trades to the downside. And again, we kind of talked about that. Again, kind of a big bounce. Potential bounce back to the $10,500 region. I think that's a good reentry opportunity for the short if you missed it. But I would also be looking for consolidation after these last 2 hours of high momentum to the downside. I think that the movement is largely over now. I think that, people trying to hop in right now and short the bottom are not going to be rewarded, in my personal opinion. So I would play it a little bit safer and I'd wait for some consolidation. Again, we're ranging behavior, just as we can see. We get here's the last hourly time frame. We get a big hourly movement down and then we get just a couple days of ranging BS where it's just safer to just be out of the market or hold the short open. And then a big move to the downside. Ranging behavior, and then you take whichever way the price breaks. Okay, let's go to... let's go to Ethereum. More volatility on the downside for Ethereum. Let's see here. Yeah, more volatility on the downside for Ethereum. So anyways, let's go to the daily. Let's go to the daily. Now, we weren't above the dead zone qualifier on any of this, so we wouldn't have got a daily trade on any of these unless you'd have kind of been jumping the gun. Again, here was kind of right here, we do get the short signal from Fisher, from Minx as well on the same candle right here. WADA doesn't confirm. You can make the argument that it's above the explosion level. So again, we talked about that, or you could be adjusting your dead zone settings. Again, you do want to make sure that you optimize to your asset that you're trading. And I'm not doing that for the demonstration of this because that's kind of a lengthy process. And again, I just kind of have the dead zone filter kind of set to where it is, but it's set for Bitcoin. So that's something that we'll do. That's something that we'll do in the future. But anyways, on the daily, again, we're below the qualifying line. So again, do I think now is the time to hop in the short? I don't. We are getting the primary signal from WADA explosion. So you can take that with a grain of salt. And adjust your risk as possible. We're just too far away from the baseline for me to justify an entry into the short. Again, I think the movement is largely kind of over for now. I think that it's going to have continuation, but I wouldn't be hopping into anything at this point in time. I wouldn't be trying to short a local bottom, wait for a little bit of a pullback, wait for a little bit of consolidation, and look for a new fresh momentum move to the downside. We go over to the 12-hour. The 12-hour did give us a better entry. Obviously, we have the reversal baseline bounce several days ago. And then, let's see here. We have the continuation signal from Minx right here, ironically enough. But again, still not anything really good from WADA on the 12-hour. We'll go over to the 4-hour though, and we'll talk about the 4-hour. And this is exactly what we talked about last night. We looked for that the vicinity of the reversal baseline bounce area. And then we also talked about the danger of the breakout above 211. Obviously, that did not happen. And the 4-hour giving us the continuation signal on the previous 4-hour candle as well. As you can see, Minx crossing freshly below the static line. Let's actually see. It actually happened here. I apologize. It actually got us in on the previous 4-hour candle. So, and then a nice move to the downside. So again, general words of caution. We're going to be looking at a lot of charts today that have just had big explosive movements to the downside. Just be cautious. Just be careful, guys. You don't, again, as I said at the beginning of the program, entering into a movement now is entering into a highly charged, highly news-filled event. And that's not something typically that you want to be doing. You want to be safe. You want to wait for a good entry. You want to wait for a good signal from your system. And again, almost all of these charts that we're looking at, they don't qualify for entries right now, just due to one filter, and that's the baseline qualifier. So let's go look at Litecoin. Look at LTC, BTC. LTC making a nice dive to the downside. Again, we've had some of this kind of positive behavior from the alt pairs, kind of holding their own. Some might even be saying alt sneezing. We actually talked about that last night in the group. I was talking about how, alts are holding their own pretty well. We'll see what happens, but we're definitely not there yet where we just want to go full risk on altcoins. We're still, if we're taking altcoin positions, we're taking low risk, we're taking half risk, we're taking quarter risk, and just be cautious and just be careful. Very glad that we did, because there's a couple altcoins that I have right now in drawdown, but I only took quarter and half risk positions on those. So that is already, due to money management skills, significantly reducing my loss on my P&L. And while I took full risk positions on trades in the dominant trend, trades to the downside, and again, those are doing very well. So completely dwarfing small losses with big wins. And that's what we try to do. We eliminate big losses, and we set ourselves up for small losses, small wins, and big wins. That's what we do. If you can eliminate small losses, the biggest barrier to being a profitable trader has been eliminated. But anyways, Let's go to the daily and talk about LTC BTC. LTC BTC is obviously still below the daily baseline, so really not even qualifying for a long trade. Water explosion has kept us out of the market pretty much for the last week, this whole week right now, and going into the end of last week. Let's go to the 12-hour chart. I don't see anything from the 12-hour chart. We've got a double rejection from the primary baseline. So I will say this, though. I will say this, with the big movement coming to the downside from BTC, if BTC can stabilize and just kind of trade at these lower levels for a while, for an extended period of time before continuing its downside potential, so we're going to have a lot of people trying to buy this dip. And I think they're going to be overpowered by the sellers eventually. But if that happens, then I think a lot of capital typically flows in altcoins, although altcoins are performing in high beta, and I'm not calling for any kind of alt season, nothing like that. Just looking at the technicals, if we can break above the 12-hour time frame here, the 12-hour baseline, then potentially there's a profitable setup because we've already had 2 touches of the baseline, 2 touches of this resistance level. And as we've said, the more touches that you get on a level of resistance, very well with our baseline as well, we typically do see that get broke eventually. You know, how much momentum we have to the upside, that's questionable. 4-hour time frame, the baseline filter doing very well for us. There's been some very good 4-hour trades here on LTC BTC. We actually don't have a confirmed short setup because although we are crossing below the 0 line, the Fisher transform is not crossed under. We are below the baseline, but WADA is not confirming a short trade. So I wouldn't be establishing a short position on LTC BTC at this time. LTC USDT is going to look like every other USDT pair that we're going to talk about today. All the USD pairs, all the USDT pairs taking a massive, massive dive down with the rest of the market, with the rest of the USD pairs, because they follow USDT pairs, follow USD prices. So if Bitcoin to the USD is doing well, USDT prices are going to do well. Generally, almost always, do well also. If BTC USD and alt to BTC pairs are going to do poorly, because Bitcoin is outperforming the altcoins. And with Bitcoin dominance absolutely so high, you're going to see that that same thing much more pronounced. I guess that was about it. So anyways, LTC USDT to the downside, we got the short signal. Again, not a really good confirmed short signal. Short signal over here. But of course, we can't short LTC USDT, so really there's not even a really reason to point that out. Of course, you could do the LTC USD pair on Kraken or Bitfinex, but again, we don't trade on Bitfinex. You wouldn't catch me touching Bitfinex with a 30-foot pole. Let's go to EOS. I wanted to talk about the trading competition being over. Here's the team details. The trading competition is over. We have everything live. There's the names, there's the numbers, there's the stuff. Starting equity, final equity. Let's give this page a refresh. See if we have 0.02% current profitability. We are 21st in the rankings. Rankings just started, so we've got plenty of time to take the number 1 spot. We did have quite a few people. I'm going to assume these are guys not in the group. We did have quite a few people sign up for us, and thank you guys so much for your support. I highly appreciate that. But make sure that you guys did not make the minimum required deposit. As you can see, the minimum required deposit was 50 EOS. You guys did not make the minimum required deposit. You guys will be included in the rankings if you make that minimum deposit. So you do that and you'll be pushed to the top. But right now, all of you, not all of you, but all of these individuals right here are not in the competition. I mean, they're competing, but their profitability is not being taken into account for the rankings. So best of luck to everybody. We've got a magical number of members, 42 members who decided to sign up for the trading competition in our group. So, or for our team, actually. Excuse me, let me use the right wordage. So very excited about this and looking forward to crushing it with you guys. So best of luck to you guys. Happy trading. Do good, man. Do good. Let's get back over to the charts. EOS. EOS USD is going to look, similar to everything else. Obviously, we were in a hedge short position, so now that's actually reflecting on our profitability because we are below the baseline, so there's no reason to be holding. And again, here's the thing with EOS USD. I have to be more discerning about EOS USD, but we did get Minx did give a re-entry signal for a short on the daily time frame yesterday. WADA did not confirm. WADA is also not confirming a full risk short trade right now. The volume and momentum is just not there, and obviously we're just seeing a whole lot of consolidation coming back down for a retest of support right here. This is going to be our second test of this support. Now, another thing I want to point out: 3 tests of the primary baseline. So let's see what happens here, because obviously if I get bullish on EOS by definition, I almost have to be bullish on Bitcoin as well, because if Bitcoin's doing well, then all the other USD pairs are going to be doing well. And if Bitcoin's doing poorly, generally the USD pairs are going to be doing poorly as well. So it's going to be very hard to call for a trend reversal in EOS without calling for a trend reversal in BTC. So I don't see that at this point in time. I still don't think there's a very good daily trade. There's just no signal for a daily trade. And we can see Fisher Transform hasn't even crossed to the downside. So let's give this a few more days. But honestly, I mean, kind of looking at this just looking at this chart without really taking everything else into account, this would make me feel a little bit more bullish than I would just about on everything else. Those two touches of the primary baseline, that nice consolidation pattern, the nice volume, but not a lot of volatility coming in to initiate the trade. So what we need to see is a nice breakup above that $4.20 region with some good volume on good momentum for us to really get a nice good trade to the upside. So nothing really happening on EOS USD right now. EOS BTC. EOS BTC on Binance, rejection from the daily baseline. But interesting stuff here happening because we do have Minx signaling to cross above the zero line. We do have Fisher crossing above the zero line and crossed above the trigger line. And we do have WADA that flirted with a little bit of a long signal yesterday, but did not confirm, kept us out of that trade. So again, this would have me looking a little bit more bullish than anything else. Is it a time to establish a position? No, we need to see the breakout. We need to see the momentum initiation trade. We need to be above the daily baseline on good volume, on good momentum. But just something to point out, I think this is nothing to do right now, but starting to kind of potentially look okay. But again, no trade at this point in time. And I would still be, if you have EOS, I wouldn't be sitting in EOS in any way, shape, or form. And the EOS that I do have is hedged to the downside, has been for some time. Payday tanking the team already. Fell asleep without a stop loss. The infamous falling asleep without a stop loss. That's the second person I've talked to this week that was like, yeah, man, I was doing absolutely fantastic. Fell asleep without a stop loss last night and lost $1,000. Make sure, just part of the workflow, man. Set the trade, set the stop loss. That's the second thing you do after you enter. You always set your stop loss first. That way you're good to go. Always set your stop loss. Entry, stop loss, then take profits. Most people want to do, I'm going to enter here and I'm going to take profit there. Yeah, looks good. Stop loss first. All right. Let's go to XRP BTC. Go look at our ZERP. Let's see here. XRP BTC, a more significant move to the downside, really following along. More momentum. There's nothing to do here with XRP BTC. We've got, one rejection from resistance, one false breakout. And again, after everything resetting, this is just the first retap. We are topping below zero, which is a bearish reentry sign. But again, WADA did flip a little bullish on us here. So no, there's no short to be had here. There's no long to be had here either. There's no trade to take for XRP BTC. It's just, you just got to be out of the market, man. This is just not the situation. This is just not the time to do the Hail Mary on XRP BTC. If we can get above the daily baseline with some good signals, then maybe that's a possible opportunity. It didn't work out well for us here, but again, that's one of the few bad signals that we get because we can see the good one over here. Let's see, we can see good ones over here, but I'm not going to be advising or really eager myself topping anything that's just been performing high beta for so long now. XRP USDT, big move to the downside as well. As I said, bigger move to the downside than really anything else I've looked at as far as the majors for USDT pairs. And this just shows you the absolute weakness of XRP. I mean, ZERP is completely decimated and crushed, man. The spirits of the buyers are absolutely out of there. And there's really no reason to buy this. This is a junk coin, man. This is going to be, listen, this is going to be controversial, but I don't care. I'll just give you my honest opinion. I see XRP as the first major token to be delisted. It's absolute garbage, man. It's absolute garbage. Can it rally again and have its shining day? Sure, absolutely. It could. And if it does, I'll buy it. But it's just hot garbage, man. Fundamentally, I hate it. I really do. It's the worst crypto out there. Let's see here. BNB. BNB holding its own. The stalwart stallion champion of Binance, BNB, is holding its own amid the backlash of selling, just being held tight. CZ, are you holding on tight enough? Put some more market orders in, man. You can do this. You can do this. This actually looks good. I went long on BNB BTC yesterday. I'm going to hold that position open until proven wrong. BNB USDT. BNB SDT, on the other hand, taking a big dive to the downside. And this looks more bearish than not. Again, here's the tap, and then breakthrough right here. And then we're just rejecting. So this is a full reset. This is a full reset breaking down below the daily baseline. And this actually is a fully confirmed short trade. So out of BNB USDT, and we'll see what BNB BTC can do as the most liquid pair. We'll see how that works. Yes, I just lost viewers. I know. But again, I did do a segment, the other day talking about, and the title of the segment was like, why XRP is a scam. So, I think I already lost those viewers. Maybe that's why we went from like 1,000 viewers per show down to like 500. Hey, quality, not quantity. Okay. Zerpa perp. Trade of the decade. Let's get over into the news with today in Bitcoin. Ventriloquism. Okay, so getting right into the news today. So we've got some stuff to talk about, guys. All right, we're going to start off with what I think is probably the biggest news of the day, and it's this. Veritasium. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions has obtained a restraining order freezing assets of Reggie Middleton, resulting from his project Veritasium. This marks one of the strongest enforcement actions to date in the crypto space by the U.S. regulator, as well as what seems like the first high-profile unregistered token to be probed for market manipulation. The order covers freezing accounts at legacy institutions like Bank of America, Citi, and JP Morgan Chase. They've also frozen his exchange accounts on Gemini and Kraken, according to court order, as well as 15 specific addresses on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, according to the filing on Monday in the U.S. District Court for Eastern New York, Middleton, who is a New York resident, operated a fraudulent and illegal ICO in 2017, raising $14.8 million in the offering. The filing also alleges trades were made on the open market in an intentional effort to inflate volumes and price. Allegations further suggest that $520,000 in ICO funds was misappropriated by Reggie for personal use, as well as another $600,000 to purchase precious metals in an effort to prop up another fraudulent project. There is another $8 million worth of funds that were raised in the ICO that are missing. In 2017, Middleton claimed hackers stole and liquidated 36,000 tokens, pretty much at the peak of its price during when this time happened, the peak of Veritasium's price. Hackers stole and liquidated 36,000 tokens from company accounts. Now, I did some research, and those tokens were dumped on Ether Delta, according to trade history, in that same time frame. Now, funnily enough, let's quote an email from the court filings. We can actually scroll down here a little bit and see the court filing right here. Quoting an email from the court filing, they say, this is Reggie Middleton sending an email to one of his employees. He says, quote, "The Ether Delta market is not accurate because of very low volume. I will try to push more volume. And this time next month, I'll probably have all the hip hop and rap stars and producers beat in net worth." That was right before that email was dated right before the 36,000 tokens were hacked and dumped on the Ether Delta exchange to a tune of $8 million. Reggie, how's that watch, man? How's that watch, brother? In a separate SEC document, investigators observed the defendants in the Veri case, now aware of the imminent filing by the SEC. So again, this is Reggie and his associates, aware of the filing from the SEC. When they became aware, they moved another $2.5 million in investor assets in the form of Ethereum to new addresses on the Ethereum blockchain. Curiously, funny enough, before this information broke to the news, Vericoin pumped 45% this past Sunday before the press release was put out Monday by the SEC. The price since is down 26%, flirting with the all-time low, as we can go see over here on Veritasium's price. So funny, the holders, the founders of Veritasium became aware of the SEC filing before it was made public, and price pumped 45% while they moved $2 million on the Ethereum blockchain. I wonder what they did with that. Wonder what they did with that $2 million. It seems it's odd. Yeah, it's bullshit. That's what it is. Yes. So listen, guys, Veritasium was another one of those absolute shit projects from the very beginning. I saw so many of the regular scam crowd here on YouTube, and you know who they are. They're always the people that start off their project, that start off their video or whatever the hell it is, talking about, like how much faith they have in this and how much of this token they have. And that hasn't worked out very well for anybody. You guys know the regular scam crowd. They're trying to get you to buy the most garbage nonsense, promoting and pumping this token, enticing individuals to buy Veritasium, talking about what a genius Reggie was. It was at that point in time. You guys can go back in the videos. I talked about this in 2017. It was and is an absolute joke. In his marketing campaign, which this is all it was. Same with ZERP. It's a marketing campaign. There's the only investors that benefit from ZERP are Google, Andreessen Horowitz, the big investors. Any person, and they don't hold any ZERP tokens. And they're not interested in ZERP tokens. They're interested in the profits from selling and dumping the ZERP tokens on ZERP holders. That's their business model. In his marketing campaign, Reggie claimed to have brokered deals with airlines, high net worth individuals, and the largest stock exchange in the Caribbean to sell Veri tokens. In total, Reggie claimed, this was back in 2018, Reggie claimed to have sold $35 million worth of tokens for institutional use. In reality, by June 2018, 75, not 7,500, not 750, 75 of the roughly 2 million tokens in circulation, 75 out of 2 million, you do the math, were actually exchanged for research or services of any kind. That's they paid a high premium, $35 million, Reggie, for those 75 tokens. That's I've heard about a deal, but that's a gangbuster. Now, this was a bait and switch from the very beginning. And if I am ticking you off, if you like Veritasium, just answer me. Riddle me this. Tell me the name of one person, besides any people who were involved in the founding of this project, who benefited monetarily from the scam. Tell me one person, give me one name, one person, whose life was improved by the Veritasium project. Again, excluding anybody who orchestrated the scheme in the first place and profited from this. Tell me one person whose life benefited from this. One person whose life has been improved by this pump and dump project. Great. Nothing? Okay. I will show you thousands of individuals who have been helped by Bitcoin or Ethereum, legitimate decentralized projects. I think the rules are pretty clear. And again, there are going to be a few exceptions to this. And again, we'll kind of talk about those as we go. But it's the exceptions that let you know that there are rules. So here's what I think the rules are. No pre-mine, or a very, very small one. No developers fund, or a very, very small one, right? No centralized control of the currency. Completely decentralized authority and governance. And a focused, single focus use case. Let's go over to the Veritasium website. Here's the Veritasium website right here. Looks like crap. Scott would have an absolute panic attack looking at this website. Probably having a panic attack here. But we've got VADIR, Veritasium Autonomous Dynamic Interactive Research. That's a word salad that means garbage project. VRent, Economic Rent Facility. VExposure, VResearch, VManagement, VTokenization. Run away. Bitcoin does one thing, and it does one thing really, really well. It's a global payment system and store of value network. That's it. It's digital money, right? Ethereum does a lot, but it mainly does one thing. It's a decentralized computer network, right? That allows people to build apps on top of it. Pretty good at it, right? There's problems, right? Kind of the same for, Cardano and EOS, they're computing systems, right? That you can build and develop smart contracts on, right? But they don't. This is, I mean, just absolute marketing, man. Absolute marketing. Veritasium builds blockchain-based peer-to-peer capital markets as software on a global scale. We enable the seamless connection of parties and assets without the need for a third or authoritarian interest. Any entity with interest access can participate in these capital markets on a peer-to-peer and one-on-one basis. Word salad. The word salad. You're doing too much, man. Every single project that's tried to have like 19 different things going on, that they're just, we're going to do this and 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 this. Digitex Futures is a good example. But I'll at least give dude credit. Digitex Futures, although a scam, at least they, dude, I can't remember his name. Dude bro. At least dude bro tried to just like to kind of do one thing, right? There was other things in there. They wanted to build an exchange, and on this exchange you could do this, and the token would have value because the token would enable you to do, it would be held in equity on the exchange, and blah 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 blah. It's still too much. So you're getting into the realm of too much there. This is too much. This is far too much. This is a huge red flag, right? When again, all these people, I think, here's the thing, we're in such early days of cryptocurrency, man. We're in such early days of cryptocurrency, and people are running around still trying to build the fundamentals of Bitcoin. The fundamentals of Bitcoin work really well. It's 10 years old, but we're still working on developing layer 2 applications. We're working on fleshing out the Lightning Network, which is revolutionary. And, and Ethereum is trying to get over its hurdles as well. Those are some significant problems that we have right now that actually will improve the quality of life of human beings, human persons. It improves their quality of life, right? And that's where the focus should be. That's where the focus should be. And I think that, very similar to, what's her name? The gal who raised billions and billions of dollars for her little printer thing that you prick your finger and you put the thing in the box and it tells you all your blood diseases. It was this huge, like multi-billion-dollar scam. She had investments from all the big investors. She's big, bright blue eyes, pretty girl. And it was a complete crap, garbage scam project. The biggest thing in the news. And, you're doing too much, man. You're doing too much. Focus on one thing and be good at one thing. That's what we try to do here, right? We try to trade very, 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 very well, and then talk to you about trading, and then talk to you about what's going on in crypto. We try to do those two things. We try to do them very well. And hopefully we do. I think that we do. And, if we didn't do them, I wouldn't have all you guys showing up and giving us your thoughts and your opinions. And I really appreciate that, man. You guys are absolutely fantastic. And thank you for spending your time with me. But this is garbage. Has been. I've said that for a while. So it's good to get a little bit of vindication, regardless of whether you feel that this is right, that the SEC has the right to do this. That's a completely different conversation. Here's the actual press release from the SEC's website. So moving along, let me know what you guys think about this in the chat. And we're going to move on to the second story of the day. Closing parenthesis. Closing parenthesis. That was a weird one. Alan Dropine, thanks so much for the follow on Twitch. And Spock Talc. Spock Talc. It's good. That's like talc that Spock would use. It's like Star Trek talc. Baby powder for the future. Dun, 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 dun. Awesome. Thanks for the sub on YouTube, my brother. Okay, let's move along to the next, and this is going to be bad news for our British viewers. Sorry, guys. I love you. I love all my homies across the pond, but Coinbase operations in the UK seem to have hit a snag overnight when Barclays, the British banking giant, who presumably have played a major role in the San Francisco-based exchange's ability to trade in GBP fiat, there are currently concerns and early reports of disruption for exchange, in the exchange with withdrawals and deposits for UK-based Coinbase users. However, access to UK banking is said to continue with a new partner, Clearbank UK. So we don't know if this is merely a hiccup or is UK finance not happy with Coinbase in particular. We know that we've gotten some, obviously we've got some good regulation. We talked about that earlier. We talked about the good guidance that was published by the UK. And I talked at that time how I thought it was some of the nicest, clearest guidance that I'd seen from any first world country. Still looking at obviously banning cryptocurrency derivative projects from their financial, from their financial regulatory authority. But still, overall, the stance of Britain to cryptocurrency was in general positive, from what I understand. I have a lot of friends over there in Britain who are working on their own projects, who are working on, their own trading, who are working on bringing adoption to the UK. I think there's just a fantastic opportunity over there, and I agree with a whole lot of them on that. So this is a little concerning. We don't know exactly at this point in time whether it's just Coinbase that they're unhappy with in particular, whether this is some personal thing between Barclays and Coinbase, or whether this is some larger idea about, fiat being pushed over to San Francisco. So we don't know. This could be related to the trade wars. This could be related to international tensions. We just don't know. But I just wanted to talk about this and bring this to the attention of you guys as well. So from what I do know, UK-based Coinbase users are having trouble with trading in GBP, have had some trouble with withdrawals, deposits. Again, it's not that I'm saying that funds are on SAFU or anything like that. No money has gone missing. It's just inconveniences at this point in time. And we do have some new, so right when I wrote this morning, we also hear Santander UK Bank reportedly halting Coinbase payments as well. So it's not just Barclays, it's Santander Bank as well, which is one of the largest banks over there in the UK. So, and let's see, according to a Reddit user, the UK-based bank Santander has halted payments to Coinbase. The user explains, just got off the phone with a Santander rep in the UK who informed me they will no longer be allowing their customers to deposit money to Coinbase. After I put in a complaint, their complaints department confirmed to me that I should move to an alternative bank if I wish to make the payment. They went on to say this is likely because of an increase in fraud related to Coinbase. So, don't have any more information than that at this point in time. If you guys have some information on this, especially my buddies across the pond, please let me know. I'll try to cover it tomorrow, or let me know in the chat, man. Carolina Zoo, hey, what's going on? Says, hi, Justin, could you please show me how to do the hedging technique in ByBit? I'm new in leverage. I'm really appreciate your work and the content. Not there yet to get course, but I'll be there soon. Thank you so much for the support. And yes, I'd be happy to. Let's go over to, I'm on my streaming computer. Don't run this behind a VPN when I stream, so I can't show you, but directly how to do it, but we'll just go over the basics. Let's see if I can pull open a ByBit example terminal. I don't think I can. We'll try. Okay, so here we are in ByBit. Let's go over to here. Okay, so here we are in ByBit, and what it's going to look like, obviously, when you're logged in with your account, is you're going to see limit, market, conditional. You're going to be able to select your leverage and whatnot here. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go over to your assets tab, right? You're going to click this. Oh, you can't really see what I'm doing right here, but in the top left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see the ByBit logo. It's going to say trade, and then it's going to say assets. You want to click on the button that says assets, right? And that's going to take you to your assets page. Now, the nice thing about ByBit is that it's going to show you your current balance, right? You don't want to use equity. You want to use current balance, because equity is going to be trade plus unrealized P&L. So you want to use your balance, right? And ideally, if you're not in a trade, then the calculation won't be difficult. So let's say you have, one Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's price is currently $10,189, right? So just keep it really simple. So if that's the case, if you have one Bitcoin and you want to hedge against downside potential, you would note that down, and of course that's what's going to say in assets. It's going to say you have one Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin is worth $10,189. So you go over to, or excuse me, 10,186. So you go over to the trade tab. This is how I do it. You can either set a limit order, or it's just easier to do a market order, right? So many people want to whine and cry and complain about fees and market orders. Fees are so ridiculously low in cryptocurrency. And again, just as I talked about yesterday, you want to set a limit order and optimize your entry. You're most likely going to miss out on the opportunity. So anyways, set a market order. Go short, sell 10,186 at this point in time, 10,185.5. But again, the dollar, you could be off $10 or $20, doesn't matter. Short the dollar value of how much Bitcoin you have. 1x leverage. To be honest with you, I use 3x leverage just because it's easier. That way I don't have that capital tied up. You can use 2 or 3x leverage. Your liquidation price is going to be so ridiculously far away, it's not going to matter. And you click the sell button. And that's it. You click the sell button and you are immediately hedged. If price goes up, you don't lose dollars. You will lose some BTC. If price goes down, you're going to maintain the same dollar value that you have, but you're going to gain Bitcoin. Because think about this. Price is going down. So you need to have more BTC. You need to have more BTC to equal that same amount of dollars. So that's what you'll get. If price goes up and you want to maintain the same number of dollars, and BTC is becoming more valuable against the dollar, you're going to have to subtract the amount of BTC that you have. And that's what's going to happen. So if you go into a short position and price starts moving up, you're going to lose BTC, but you're not going to lose dollar value. You'll have less BTC when you're done or when you get out of that, but you'll have the same amount of dollars. And to me, that's all I care about. I invest in BTC. I put money in BTC every single month. I put it on my Ledger Nano S, and that's about it. So it's really simple to do. And then whatever your parameters are going to be for, moving to get back into Bitcoin, reestablishing that position, you can look to scale out either on the way up or on the way down to kind of move back into a long position. That's a longer conversation about what your personal strategy is about trading. Again, I don't recommend people trade reversals, but a lot of people are going to utilize something of a reversal strategy to move from being in a short position to reestablishing a long position. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's not how I do things, but it's pretty simple, man. You just calculate. You just go over and you figure out how many dollars you have in Bitcoin, and you go short that number of contracts, because one contract is $1 on ByBit. Unlike BitMEX, where one contract in Ethereum USD is not $1, because it's an inverse features contract, so you have to look at the XBT to ETH ratio, and it's just a pain in the butt. So keep that in mind. But thank you for the question. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if I did not explain that clearly enough, and I will attempt to another reason to ditch Coinbase, go to ByBit. Well, you can't onboard fiat. I only use Coinbase for moving from fiat to crypto. Okay, let's get back over in the news. And we will talk about our last story for the day. All right, now, Samsung's cryptocurrency wallet quietly adds Bitcoin support. Now, although this is currently limited to just a few of their flagship devices, Samsung's Keystore wallet was hailed by crypto enthusiasts as an important milestone in adoption. It's available on select Galaxy S10 devices. Samsung's blockchain Keystore is a cold wallet. It's a cold and hot wallet solution for their mobile devices. Ethereum was supported out of the box, but Bitcoin support was curiously missing at launch. According to Samsung's official website, this is no longer the case. It's no longer the case, with BTC support in Keystore now having been added. A promising development, as many expect the smartphone to play a critical role in cryptocurrency adoption. Now, the debut and now ongoing development of Keystore by Samsung, as well as the notable $2.9 million investment they made in Ledger, hashtag Ledger Nano S, that they made in Ledger earlier this year, suggests that Samsung is one tech giant that we can expect to expand on this technology over the next decade. So this is actually really exciting to me. I mean, we talked about this with, kind of like Apple giving their blessing to things and how a lot of technologies didn't take off, like NFC payments, things of that nature didn't really take off until Apple really blessed it and, kind of adopted it, and then it became mainstream. But, one would argue that, Apple is struggling. Apple's actually, their business model is abandoning a lot of their iPhone projects and kind of moving to new markets, new territory. Whereas Samsung is like, phones, let's go, baby. So I think this is pretty huge, man. I think it's good. It's convenient. You've got a cold and hot wallet directly on your phone with the Keystore wallet. It supports Ethereum. It now supports Bitcoin. And this is going to be like the solution. So many people, are not invested in Bitcoin or have no Bitcoin holdings simply because they don't have, they don't have access to it. It's just not there. People are simple. If they're not willing to, if they're not really interested in investing and trading and cryptocurrency or anything like that. But as more people become aware of, eventually an impending financial crisis and look to continue to hedge their positions in a safer, sounder, more, better store of value, then we're going to see more people switching over to things like cryptocurrency and gold and things of these nature. And having that nice, easy, convenient solution directly on their phone, staring them in the face, you set up your, when people go to set up their new S12s, here in a couple of years, it's just going to be name, email, log in with your Google account, Do you want to set up a private key for your Bitcoin? Well, okay, yeah, boom. And then, you're just out and about and somebody's like, hey, can I pay you in Bitcoin? And you're like, oh, no way. Oh, yeah. How do I do it? I just press this button and it's like, yeah, grandma. You just think, okay, good. Big. You got Bitcoin. I think this is pretty huge. So pretty excited about it, honestly. Okay. Roycoin, if your primary goal is protecting your dollar valuation to the umpteenth degree, then yes, that is something that you could potentially consider doing. That's not always what I do. There are times when I exit a Bitcoin position where I stay in BTC. There are certain times when my system signals that it's better to sit in BTC. This is one of the most profitable movements that a lot of guys in the group learn. It's just there are times to be in BTC and there's times not to be in BTC. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about something real quick. Let's actually switch over to this button. There we go. So, guys, as a professional trader, it is absolutely essential that I have full control over my funds at all times. Platforms like Bittrex, Coinbase Pro, and BitMEX, although they're okay in their own right, they just lack some essential features and customer service that I want to get out of an exchange. And, I've talked about it many times. The exchange that I trade on is ByBit. And one of the primary reasons why I switched over to ByBit was their customer service. Every single person who's had an issue, and again, this is cryptocurrency. These are new and developing technologies. So people are going to have issues, especially a lot of newer traders. You want to put them on an exchange where they can have access to the help that they need. I like ByBit. It has all the features that I want from an exchange. It's simple to use. It's an intuitive user interface, but at the same time, it has the advanced order functions that I like. They've got a good team. They've got a good roadmap. They're going to be adding new coins. They're going to be adding the coin swapping feature, which is actually the thing I'm most interested about, because right now, as it currently sits, you'd have to deposit the underlying. But that's good. I think that gets people more involved in trading and more actively involved in managing their positions. Instead of depositing your money on BitMEX and playing the XBT casino token lottery extravaganza. So anyways, guys, if you want to check out ByBit for yourself, you can use the link in the description or go to bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. If you use that link, ByBit will give you up to $60 as a margin bonus that you can use to trade. You can't withdraw that $60, but you can use it as the basis to make new trades on, and you can withdraw any profit that you receive from there. And should you incur any losses with funds that you deposit, that $60 will be the first thing that is taken. So if you guys would like to check out ByBit, pretty much risk-free, you guys can head over to bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. And with that being said, man, that's all for today's show. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. Thank you so much for the support. Let's see here. Sorry, I was looking for something. Thank you guys for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. If you guys would like to up your game and you guys would like to trade along with us, get access to our rules and our tools, have the same indicators that allow us to catch shorts like we just caught this one, you guys can head over to premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. It's the first link in the description down below if you'd like to trade along with us. If you like fantastic crypto podcasts, make sure to check out breakingbitcoin.money. You can now say, hey, Google Assistant. I said it. I wasn't trying to say, we'll just go full forward with it. You can just say, hey Google, play the latest episode of the Breaking Bitcoin podcast. And Google should say something like,
okay, playing the latest episode of Breaking Bitcoin, 200 plus blockchains currently under attack. China coin is ready to launch.
Hey Google, stop. Anyways, guys, sorry if I activated your Google devices. You can just tell them, hey G, Justin sucks. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, leave them in the comment section down below, and you will be entered to win our crypto comment giveaway, because we give away crypto every single day on this channel. You guys have been fantastic. I've been Justin Wise for Kraken Cryptocurrency. Trade safely, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same crypto network.